Hey guys, so a lot of you know that I specialize in kind of body image, self esteem, and those are really important topics to me just because I feel like our body image and all of those things really affect how we view ourselves and what our self talk is like. So, how we talk to ourselves inside of our head throughout our lives. And also, I've talked in other videos about how these are connected to our value and our worth. So, what we perceive as being our value in life and also our worth that we project into how other people treat us. A question I had though is what is body image? And I think that's a really important question to define and to also kind of specify. So, what is maybe a positive body image versus a more negative one? How do we develop body image? And what are the factors that cause us to have a certain body image? So, firstly, I think it's important to use the actual definition of body image that we see in a dictionary. So, that would be that the subjective picture or mental image that we have of one's body. So, a really key word that I want to point out here is this idea of subjective. So, body image is subjective, but it is also affected by culture, by what we see in things like the media, what is presented on TV. The big one that I see nowadays, too, especially with younger girls and boys, is looking at people on social media, particularly things like Instagram, and a lot of also like Snapchat, YouTube, all of those kind of things, where we're seeing really heavily edited pictures of people's bodies. And then people are kind of having these expectations of themselves and of their bodies that they need to look the same way as some of these really heavily edited or posed or pictures of people who have really extreme lifestyles are using various different things to have those bodies and very rigid diet plans. So, body image, as we can see, is subjective, but it is developed within cultures where certain things are valued or seen as beautiful throughout different phases of time. And we can see that this changes even over decades where like back in like the 80s and 90s, I know that being very, very thin was a lot of kind of the rave in the media and the hype. And nowadays there's more of a push towards curves and kind of having muscles. We can see this in fashion and hairstyles and how all of these things change with time. And so people are very subjectively affected by what they're told is beautiful or what they're told they should look like based on the fashions and trends that are going on in society at that time. Now, if someone has a positive body image, they generally have a kind of more reasonable view of themselves that maybe they don't expect perfection from their body or this idea of perfection that doesn't really exist, but they accept their body as it is. They nourish their body, feed their body well. And generally, if someone makes a comment about their body, if they were to feel like they gained or lost a bit of weight, it wouldn't deeply affect them too much. When someone has a more positive body image, they don't necessarily see their body and their aesthetics as being the defining aspects of their character or as the only aspects of them that give them value and worth. And I think this is a really key definition or a defining factor in the difference between having a positive body image and a negative body image. So, if you have a positive body image, it doesn't mean that you love your body every day, that you love your body every day, and that you always feel absolutely fantastic in it. And also, it doesn't mean that you're arrogant or cocky about your body or your attractiveness or perceived attractiveness. It just means that if you are having one of those negative body days, it's not going to affect your whole mood, your whole day, and make you feel like you have less value or worth in society than someone who you perceive maybe as having a more positive or attractive body than your own. Having a more positive body image also means that you feel more comfortable and confident in your body. You don't necessarily feel that you need to spend a ridiculous amount of time or an unreasonable, unrealistic amount of time on things like worrying about food, your weight, calories. And also sometimes people who exercise excessively for only aesthetic reasons can be considered to be doing this as well. When someone has a more negative body image, it is often that they have a bit of a distorted or not clear perception of how they look. Sometimes they will have like things like body dysmorphia or eating disorders where they actually perceive parts of their body to be unlike what they are. Also relates over into things like binge eating disorders where people feel so disconnected to their body. They've kind of given up in different ways on their body and caretaking for their body. Now, people with a negative body image also often feel ashamed, embarrassed of their body, and there is a huge connection here to anxiety and social anxiety that people feel when they have a negative body image, that people are judging them, that they cannot wear certain clothing, that they cannot be in certain places. And so this comes alongside this really negative body image that a lot of people feel that their body is not good enough to meet kind of those standards that they perceive that are very much subjective. And so there's really no way of knowing if someone else also has a negative body image who we perceive to have the perfect body, because this is totally a mental process. It actually is never really about the body that we have. It's about how we perceive ourselves and how we talk to ourselves day to day. And remind ourselves of our value and worth in all of these areas that are so unrelated to our body as well. So hopefully that gives you something to think about this week if you are struggling with your own body image. Don't forget to check out my links below and subscribe to our channel for weekly videos on mental health and well-being topics. Thanks so much for watching today, you guys.